All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. I will be joined shortly with my awesome partner, Mr. Benham. I hope everybody's doing well today on this beautiful Wednesday. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. And as always, we want to start our day off by taking massive action. And action stands for accepting all possible loss before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, setting yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trusting your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade success materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So, if everybody can hear me okay, drop me a one in the chat and we will get things underway. Perfect. Appreciate it. All right. All right. So, um, let's slide over to trading economics, take a look at some fundamentals. Um, I'll touch on some developments from our conversation yesterday regarding the government's some of the government's decisions, and then we'll dive into the charts. Um, so let's get to it. All right. UK inflation. UK inflation. Highest in 18 months. The annual inflation rate rose to 3.8% in July 2025 and 3.6 in June, the highest since January 2024. Um, Slightly above the forecast, 3.7, the uptick led by higher transport costs linked to school summer holidays and additional pressure from motor fuels, restaurant and hotels, food, and non-alcoholic beverages, right? So the expectation was for that inflation to be higher, and it was, but it was higher than expected. Um, and so you're seeing a pop in the pound because of this. Well, yeah, because of this. Okay. So we got strength in the pound, now inflation up, meaning rates may stay higher for longer in the UK. Okay. Um, and you had Reserve Bank of New Zealand cut rates as expected by 25 basis points to 3%. Um, Aligned with market expectation, bringing borrowing costs to the lowest level since August 2022. A committee reached a decision with a 4-2 majority acknowledging both upside and downside risks to economic outlook. Inflation edged up 2.7% on Q2 from 2.5 previously, remaining within a 1 to 3% target. However, it's projected to reach 3% in Q3, driven by rising administered prices, um, food costs, and price of other tradable goods and services. Right, on the growth front, GDP contracted, right? So you got inflation moving up, GDP coming down, 7% year on year Q1, with high frequency data indicating another decline in Q2, 2 consecutive quarters of a decline, and a rebound expected in Q3. Elsewhere, MPC noted that tariffs and policy uncertainties are weighing on the global outlook, while trade volume remains resilient. Shifting patterns and higher than expected US tariffs on New Zealand exports may challenge some industries and exporters, right? So tariffs impacting other countries now, right? The GDP of those countries. because of the slowdown in purchases and such. Okay. Um, on the S&P, U.S. stock futures fell on Wednesday as investors look ahead to earnings of major retailers and the release of meeting minutes. NASDAQ 100 futures down 0.3% as pressure on technology stocks persisted, while Dow and the S&P 500 lost 0.1% and 0.2% respectively. Markets are awaiting results from Lowe's, which actually just came in. Um, and Lowe's beat their expectation. We'll take a look at the chart, but their stock is up in pre-market trading. Lowe's is making a purchase of a design company, shifting more toward the commercial side of things. Um, so Lowe's beat expectations there. Target, they're down a bit. They they met the expectation, but they have a leadership change. The CEO is transitioning to the board, and a new CEO who is already a part of the organization is moving in. All right, so that's that. Don't have TJ Maxx information yet. Fed minutes also draw close scrutiny, as July meeting marked the first time since 1993 that two officials dissented from the policy decision. Right, attention will turn to Fed Chair Jerome Powell's upcoming remarks on Friday. On Tuesday, S&P and the Nasdaq Composite slid 0.59% and 1.46% respectively amid a broad sell-off in tech shares during a risk-off session. Nvidia fell 3.5%, AMD lost 5.4%, and Palantir Technologies dropped 9.4%. In contrast, Dow managed a slight 0.02% gain, supported by post-earnings rally of Home Depot, right? Home Depot also had a great earnings call, and the stock moved higher. Okay. So yeah, so that's where we are from the stock market overall. Um, over to the calendar, right? We know we got here we go. All right. Reserve Bank of New Zealand, that information, CPI out of the UK, above expectation. Um, FOMC meeting minutes is where our eyes are for 2 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, we'll see where those details take us. So we got crude oil inventories today. Um, some FOMC meeting members coming to the microphone as well as Governor Hawksby from Reserve Bank of New Zealand coming to the microphone as well. And then tonight you got PMI data out of Australia and Japan. Okay. So that's the quick look fundamentally. Um, any questions on any of that information or anything that you guys see that you want to bring to the table?
Yeah, so there's some news that's coming up for Friday. Oh, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning, Tyrone. What's happening, my man?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Um, yeah, I was just gonna say that trading's been all right and everything's been fine, but there's a instrument coming up for Friday. It's called the Jackson Hole Synopsium,
Yes,
and
sir.
I was just wondering, because it's an annual report for the Federal Reserve, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. It's so Jerome Powell he's speaking on Friday at the symposium. It's happening now. Um he he's expected to, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, he's expected to toe the line pretty well as he generally does and not give much on either side.
Mm.
It's his last speech.
Yeah.
before he vacates the position, or before his term ends. And so not the market isn't honestly isn't expecting him to give much there. It'll be
Yep.
a surprise if he does give much in either direction. Um, but we are looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
Yep.
But it is not expected that he's going to give a lot of forward guidance,
Hmm.
um, because he said in recent past he doesn't know which way this thing is going to go right now,
Oh, okay.
because of the data. So that's the expectation as far as this forward guidance is concerned at the moment.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard anything different?
No, it's because well, I remember it from last year, but now because, like you said, it's
Yeah.
his final time speaking before he retires. I was just wondering, like, if he has any like significance on the markets or whatever. But all right, then that's fine. That's fine.
So generally it does. Generally it does. If he's expected to, and every year is different, right? As far as his comments based on the scenario. But it definitely can impact the markets if he says something that gives them insight into forward guidance on decisions. And right now we're looking at the September rate decision, where 85% of the market is expecting a rate cut. Um, no, 85% of market participants are expecting a rate cut. Um, so generally it does. And if he says something that gives insight into that, then it'll move the market. Um, but if he doesn't give any insight, then it won't. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see what he has to say. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say and see then how the market responds to whatever it is. But like I said, a lot of folks aren't anticipating a lot of forward guidance at the moment because the data is so back and forth. Even though, like I just stated, this last meeting they had two members dissent, right, and desire a rate cut. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say for sure, for sure. Appreciate you bringing that up.
First.
Um, all right, cool deal. Let's take a quick look at the dollar. And then I want to dive into a conversation Joy brought up yesterday regarding the federal government and their stake in AMD. Um, DXY, right?
Oh,
Started to turn over.
sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you again. There was another government stake as well in I think it was Intel.
I'm sorry, Intel. That's what it is, not AMD. I apologize.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Should have Intel. Yep.
Right
Yep.
now.
I misspoke. I apologize. Yes, Intel. Um, dollar starting to shift, right? 786 retracement. We got a reversal here, starting to push back to the upside. We'll see if this sustains. All right, got a stochastic and the cells on there. I'll come back to the daily time frame. Stochastic coming out of that buy zone, right? Pushing to the upside. We'll see if we're able to get break back above the cloud and this continuation long on the dollar, along with what happens today with those meeting minutes. And Tyron, Benny mentioned yesterday, looking at these meeting minutes to actually have a larger impact on the market overall because of the two dissents and what those details mean, right? If the meeting minutes give more of an insight into rate decision, then maybe Jackson Hole will, right? So we could see some movement in the market today. So we'll see where the dollar goes from here, right? We could see it turn over and move back down if there are some major developments out of those meeting minutes at 2 o'clock. So we'll keep our eyes peeled there. Okay. Um, so we'll keep tabs on it from there. Um, so Joy mentioned Intel yesterday. Okay. Um, and and this is going to be a broader conversation that I won't fully get into right now, but um, be aware of a few things here. Um, Joy mentioned Intel yesterday, and you see what happened to the stock. It pushed up. We got it in the sell zone right now. Um, but the government is not only looking to take a 10% stake in Intel, but they're also looking to take um they're looking and they're negotiating for the ability to convert the funds from the CHIPS Act grants into non-voting equity for multiple chip companies. I'll say that again. They're looking to convert the funds from the CHIP Act grant into non-voting equity of multiple companies. I won't go into detail on some of the stuff that I'm researching here, but one, this have impact on U.S. chip companies and companies that surround chip making, um, but also has some other implications, which I'm gonna chat with Benny about first before I talk about here. Um, some historical significance to some of this, but they're saying that it's not for government control, but it's to ensure taxpayer-backed investments yield tangible returns. Taxpayer-backed investments. All right. So some of the companies that were mentioned in this were companies of the likes of Micron Technologies, which we broke down a while ago. We're looking for it to come into the 618 retracement zone, right? And you see what's happened since the beginning of August when it came into the 618 retracement area, which we were looking for after this retracement occurred. You see the pop, you see the pullback now, right? And come down to the 4 hour time frame. Yeah, so you can see this a little bit more clearly here, right? Boom, move to the upside, right? So we're headed 153 to 157. Okay. Um, so we come down to the four, and this is what we have here. 618 retracement on the 4 hour time frame, right? Potential crown pattern here. Okay. So if this negotiation goes the way Donald Trump wants it to, right, we could see investment in a lot of these chip companies that have manufacturing in the United States, right, or that are ultimately allies of the United States. You could also see then a shift in some of the things that China allows, right? So there'll be an interesting back and forth that occurs as this moves forward, right? But companies like Micron could see investment from the United States or this conversion to equity from the United States, right? We took out the A on the 1 hour time frame, run the fib off the high. Let me take this out. I'll take these trend lines off too since we broke them in a major way. Okay. There was an 80-20 here. Boom. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, reversal takeoff, right? We said we're looking for this. We said we're going to wait till it got into the zone. I don't know if anybody was able to take advantage of this move and have a nice entry point on this to the upside, but we got exactly what we're looking for in every way, shape, or form. 618 retracement on the daily and on the 4 hour, 80-20 on the 1 hour, reversal takeoff, right? So we come here, run these fibs off the low, and this is where we are now, okay? Got a nice retracement that's already occurred. 786 retracement, retesting some previous levels here, right? Retesting the cloud. Maybe we get another push down, but looking for a price to turn over and push back to the upside, right? So entry opportunities as we look for this larger move to the upside, getting us to this 153 to 157 area, right? We're right now we're in the low 100s, right? And if this government investment, the quote unquote taxpayer backed investment, um, gains legs, see this rise. Okay. So if you haven't gone back to take a look at this one for your long-term investment portfolio or even trading in Darwin, right? Take a look at it and do your research on it and see what you see. But this is opportunity, I believe, for some investment here. Okay, so this is one, right? Micron, um, TSM, right? Taiwan company, however, right? Um, they have fabrication company, but they have facilities in the United States, right? That fall into that CHIPS Act fund, a CHIPS Act grant, right? Um, so we look at Taiwan Semiconductor, right? It's been flying. No retracement here. Okay. No retracement here. Flying to the upside. Okay. So when we look at it closely, what we're looking for is a pullback into this zone, right? If we get a pullback in here, we look for a move to the upside. It looks like it's coming back down to retest that area as well. Okay. So we come down to the 4. And you see it's just been range bound. Tap the area, tap the area again, right? July, August 6th, came right back down to that 618 retracement zone, coming back down to that area again. Okay. So Stochastic is in the sell zone right now, so we could potentially push a little bit deeper, coming down around 225. Okay. But range bound, need a catalyst to break out of the range. Right? What will that catalyst be? Potentially federal government funding, federal government equity stake, right? 618 retracement. Look for a reversal, right? From a higher time frame, 4 hour looking at 264, but higher time frames looking at 273, 276. Okay. So it's another one in the zone that has potential to be impacted by this CHIPS Act conversion. Okay. Come down to the 1. Same thing, right? Same thing. Deep retracement there. So keep your eyes here, right? Keep your eyes here. And this is regardless of how you trade this thing, right? Be it options or anything else, right? Keep your eyes on these chip makers. Okay? Keep your eyes on these. Um, all of the ones that have facilities in the United States, right? And even the companies that make products for or support those chip manufacturers in any way, right? Keep your eyes on them because they could be impacted greatly. Okay. Another one which we'll do a deep dive on a little bit later. I don't know if they're in here though. Let's see. APL. No, they're not here. But another one to research is Applied Digital Corporation, right? Applied Digital Corporation is around right now it's around $15 a share, right? But it's another US company. They're in the cloud services space, but their stick is in the AI space is data centers, right? So these chips are going to be in data centers, also part of that whole piece. So these are companies that we really need to continue to dig into and look for these opportunities as the government continues to manufacture a way to make profit for itself, i.e. Donald Trump. You guys following what I'm saying here?
Yep.
100%. I
Uh,
follow. Definitely follow.
um, so keep your eyes peeled on some of these. Keep your eyes peeled on some of these. Um, any questions about those few that we just took a look at, or my sentiments here?
What was the last ticker? What was the last one you looked at?
The last one that I mentioned was Applied Digital Corporation. The ticker is APLD. It's not in Smart Trader.
I'm going to stash.
Oh yeah. APLD. Applied Digital Corporation. 1534 is where it is right now. It's already moved in a major way to the upside, right? Since April,
When you said
right?
1534, I was like, I got $30 in there.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. So, right, half of its high back in 2021. Okay. So keep your eyes peeled on these, man. Keep your eyes peeled on these. Okay. I won't here. I'll run the fibs on this. I won't do a full analysis on this right now in trading view, but if we look at this, all right, all this came back. If we would have ran the fibs here, this drop would have taken it out, right? And then if we ran it from there, this drop would have taken these out as well. So we'll grab the fib from here. And let's look at it from here. Swing low to the first swing high, boom. Okay. The extension is here. If I can get clear on this. All right. So first swing high, boom. We had a 236 382 retracement matching the extension is here. No swing high there. Next swing high is there. Lowest point to the next swing high. Boom. Okay. So now let's shrink a little bit. All right. So D extension is there. Next swing high is there. So we'll come in here. Lowest point between the AB boundary. AB boundary there. This one would have been a little wonky, but technically there. Bring this up. Boom. Look where we're headed here. 618 retracement, matching extension, $21. All right, so we're already headed there. We're already in the swing. Stochastic in the sell zone, so maybe we get a retracement on the lower time frame. But, all right, we got a gap down here. We'll see if that gap closes. It may not. But we're headed to $21 in the short term. Okay. ABCD waves play out beautifully, ladies and gentlemen. But that's Applied Digital Corporation, headed to the upside. Okay. Like George says, you got $30, grab your 2 shares. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. Okay. And take a look at this pound NZD. I don't know if anybody held this one through all the madness and all the back and forth, but we're watching this 80-20 on a 4-hour time frame, and we got stuck in this consolidation for quite some time. Pulled all the way back down to the 118, 127 zone. Yep, hit TP. Great work, Joy, for holding and being patient on it. I love it. We'll drive you some sevens in the chat. But we finally broke that level, right? Yesterday we had some movement here. We broke that level, came back, retested, right? We broke the resistance, came back, retested the resistance, take off. All right. You had rate cut, you had inflation up. All right. Rate cut New Zealand, move to the upside, inflation up in the UK, explosion to the upside. Boom. All right. Now look for continuations to the upside right now. I don't see anything fundamentally that's going to turn that around. Seeing as that kind of pulls a rate cut for the UK back a little bit. All right. So that's what we're watching. So we'll come back to the daily here. And here's our fib on the daily. Okay. Make sure. Okay. There's our fib on the daily. We got a 3. Nope. 236. Right. We're pushing to the upside. So we could likely push into this 118, 127 zone, break this 8 boundary level. Right. Stochastic is in the sell zone here. So we'll watch it closely to see. But right, if we stay below 233, right? If we stay below 233, look for a deeper retracement to come, coming down into the zone. But the way things are lining up right now, we could break this level and continue moving higher. Okay. Break the level, continue moving higher. So that's on the daily. We look at the 4. It's that move there. So continue to move higher, takes out that A. Okay. So we'll watch that and see what the implications are there as price continues to travel. But we'll get a pullback before that occurs. Okay.
This be the position I be in where I don't know what to do.
Make a profit.
No, it hit TP. Ain't nothing I can do about. I said it and I let it go. But it be like when it get to going, you know that be that greed talking. It's like
did you follow your going back to the basics, right? But this is a reminder for you, right?
Yeah.
When you start to question yourself, go back to the basics. Did you follow your rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're trying to look for another entry to get back in to catch that impulsive move to the upside, does it meet your rules? Yes or no? Right? Immediately put yourself in a situation where you're moving the emotion from it with yes or no questions.
Okay.
Right? Straight up. Straight up. Yes, yes or no. Right? Not I feel, not I think, not I want to. Yes or no. Yes or no. Right? Because we talk about all the time, those emotions gonna come back. Just how you continue to train yourself to move through. Right?
Yep.
How you train yourself to continue to move through. And
And
just
then
getting back to those basics.
in this instance, I trained myself to see the teacup. So,
Uh,
but
I dig
no,
that.
I feel you though. No, when I said it, I felt the emotions coming. I was like, dang, I should have held it. But no, I did exactly what my plan told me to do. It wasn't no backing out of it and moving my TP to allow me to get out that situation. I didn't do that. I actually posted this morning because I was looking at my setup and I seemed to want the 80/20, and I'm like, well, if it's meant to be, it'll come back to me. So on that
Mhm.
80/20.
Yep, yep. So, boom, right. There you go. Tap that 118 level, right? And look for that retracement. It'll come back down, right? It'll come back down. So look for a move back down in this range. Retest those previous highs.
Yeah, I
An
want
opportunity
to see
for
what New
fresh
Zealand
hit.
trade balance do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that too. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. But great work, Joy. I love it. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. Right. So look for a pullback and continuation to the upside here on this pound NZD. Okay. Questions here. Oh, oh, okay. Cool deal. Um, mm, mm, mm. Oil's trying to figure it out. Um, I did want to go back to that Home Depot trade that we talked about before we wrapped up yesterday. Home Depot did have a good earnings call yesterday, right? But we weren't able to stay above that 407 level. Okay. We weren't able to stay above this 407 level. All right. We still closed below. I'm still looking for a retracement to come here. Okay. Um, he did have a decent earnings call yesterday, so we'll watch and see how the market opens, right? But I'm looking for a pullback and a continued move to the downside here, giving us a retracement to then move to the upside. Um, so we'll see if the market aligns, right? We'll see if the market aligns. So, but that's where we are. We're still in that 118, 127 zone, right? Closed back below that 407.82 level. So cash going the 4 hours in the buy zone. So we'll see if this is just a pullback and a continuation long, or if we get that move to the downside there. Okay. Um, they said prices be increasing. Okay. Okay. Due to tariffs. Right? And so we're starting to see some of those conversations come out, right? Estee Lauder, makeup company, right? They missed their guidance, right? Their full year guidance is going to be off. They're going to be with 100, what is it, $100 million in tariffs, right? Um, that didn't sit well, right? So their stock dropped like 14% once their earnings came out yesterday. So you got companies that are really starting to feel this tariff hit, and those are going to be transitioned over to customers, and that's going to, um, yeah, no, for sure. Um, Lip Bar is doing phenomenal things. That's going to transition to consumers, right? It's going to transition to the consumers. So prices are going to continue to go up. Okay, prices are going to go up. Sales are going to go down. GDP is gonna go down. You're gonna have inflation still increasing with a rate cut coming in September. So, um, and then you'll see housing market go crazy in September, October. Um, the real estate ETFs and another one to take a look at as well. I know I'm in the middle of talking about Home Depot, but kind of goes into it. But real estate investors are licking the chops right now, waiting on this rate cut because they're anticipating the impacts of mortgage rates and all of that to also come down, um, which is going to send the housing market crazy. Um, yeah, and builders are really the builders are trying to get off this inventory that they had, right? Builders have tons of inventory that they've been sitting on, and they've been doing some interesting things with how they're structuring these loans and mortgages that don't aren't positive impacts on the buyers. But I got to do some more research on that too. But there's some interesting structures to these mortgages for these houses that builders have been sitting on for months on end. And it's not positive, and it's going to be an impact in 3 to 5 years. But yeah, so that'll also impact Home Depot stock over the long or over the short term. If the housing market goes crazy, builders are able to go off this inventory and potentially build a few more, right? You'll see Home Depot stock rise because even though prices are going to go up, you'll have builders buying more, which will then continue this inflation cycle. All right. That's how this party goes. So with Home Depot, I'm looking for this retracement to come, right? And then when the party starts, we'll see it rise again, getting to that 439 level. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for on Home Depot, right? Still in that space. We had that gap up, but I'm looking for that move back down. Okay, so we'll watch and see. We'll watch and see if that comes.
There is, I have to find the story again, but I believe it's down in Florida. And I was looking to see if there was going to be any lawsuits come about because a lot there is a gated community they was trying to build, and due to the staffing issues, they walked off and never came back. So you have people that had paid for houses and paid for property of stuff that's just sitting there and rotting.
So you know what happens, Joy? I'm gonna break this down for you. These builders, these builders, they set up a bunch of individual entities, right? They set up a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of individual entities, one for each area of the house or each building phase of the house, right? Even down to the painters and roofers and that kind of stuff. Um, and they're all separate from the actual company itself, right?
Okay.
And one of two things. If they have to walk away, those companies, they just shut down. And so you don't have anybody that you can actually go back to hold liable because that company essentially went bankrupt and no longer exists. No is insolvent, right? Um, even the company company name that they build under isn't their actual company. It's a shell corporation. And so that scenario occurs. Or the other scenario that occurs is if they're able to get those houses up, right? Those warranties that they put on these houses, and these aren't your luxury builders, right? But these are your average builders that are building these quick put up communities. Um, those warranties that they have on the roof, on the siding, on those companies don't exist after their 1 year checkup,
Mm.
right? They give you a year to find any issues with the house, and then those companies they don't exist. I'm telling you from experience. I'm going through it. I'm going through it. The company that has the warranty on my roof no longer exists. My roof isn't 10 years old. My house isn't 10 years old.
Mm.
But the company no longer exists. It was a shell company that that the builder created. And so now that I have issues with my roof, I got to pay for that pipe. Right? I had cracks in my foundation. That company does still, well, the company that bought that company exists. So I'm safe there. But even the original company that built my house, there's no way to contact them.
Mm.
Right. So if we as a community wanted to do a class action lawsuit, who we gonna sue?
Then they push so much stress on you to buy those warranties, and that's basically where they getting their money from, huh?
Yeah. And some of them come with the house, right? Like the roof comes with a
Yeah.
10-year, 20-year warranty or something. But if the company no longer exists, who's gonna service that warranty? Nobody.
Maybe they'll call in 2 weeks searching for us for the extended warranty, huh?
Right? So but in scenarios like you just described, that's what happens. So it's going to be difficult for anybody to sue anybody because that company likely no longer exists. The things you learn as an adult. The things you learn as an adult, right? I'm not saying don't build your house, but build your house with a builder that has reviews for doing quality work, high quality work. Find your own builders, find your own individual um, skill trade folks to do each portion of the job yourself and not a company that does it all for you. That's my adulting moment of the day. uh, yeah, but Home Depot positively impacted by when a rate cut does happen, right? We could see Home Depot value still increase because the housing market could have another run to the upside. So that's where we are there. Um, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there for today, good people. I know we didn't look at a lot of charts, but I want you guys really to think through and go look at these US based chip manufacturers and companies that will be impacted by this CHIPS Act and the conversion of the funding. Okay. I really want us to take a look at that deeply because of the implications that are there. And I'll have more to add to this conversation at a later date. Questions on anything that we covered this morning? No. All right, good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session with Moss and partner, Mr. Benny Allen. You all have a phenomenal Wednesday. Peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.